Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin my presentation, I want to ask a question. We have science, we have mass communication. Do you think these both are related? I'll explain it. I'll explain it. But do you think science and mass communication are related in any way? So we have mixed answers. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. Now, I think we have a very great connection between the two. I'll explain. Now, what is neuro? What is neuro-endo dance? Like Navneet asked. Does anyone know what's neuro? Related to brain, neurological. What is endo related to? Endocrine. I'll give an example. Endocrine gland. So I'll ask the science students here. Do you know what endocrine glands are? Yes. Endocrine glands are those glands which produce hormones. Now, what are hormones? These are intercellular messengers. So let's say it was in olden time. Okay, we don't have mobiles, we don't have connections, we have nothing. There's a huge river. There's a city there, and there's a city here. And now there's an attack on this city. How will that message that there's an attack on this city reach that city? We need a canal, we have to pass that canal. We need people to pass through that canal through a boat. Because we have no other way. Similarly, in our body, let's say we hit our leg somewhere. So that message needs to reach our brain. Otherwise, how will the brain know? This is what the hormones do. They send messages to each body parts. Now we'll look into how these mass communication and science are related. We exist due to nervous and endocrine system, like I mentioned. So if we are walking, if we are talking, all of it is related to brain and the hormones that are released. These chemical messengers. Like I explained, nervous system has fast signals and neurotransmitters, and endocrine system is slow signals and hormones. Now, in modern media, we have social platforms, news, advertising. They are engineered in such a way that they bypass our rational minds and directly trigger these ancient biological systems. How? Let's say we're scrolling through Instagram. We see a good reel. Now we're very attracted to that. And we are excited to learn more about such a topic. And we scroll again. And before we know, we have spent 4 or 5 hours. Quite relatable? So this is how social media can hijack our brain. Further, we have your hormones. We have dopamine, we have cortisol, we have oxytocin. I think Ashwini is very excited about it. So Ashwini will tell us what dopamine is. Exactly, happy hormone. It's a chemical messenger that functions as both a neurotransmitter as well as a hormone. Now there's a difference between neurotransmitter and a hormone. Neurotransmitter is something that sends message to the brain and back. And hormone, like I explained, is something that is related to the endocrine glands, the ductless glands. Where is dopamine released? Hypothalamus. Does anyone? I'm asking it because I don't know how many of you know. I am from a science background, but most of us here are not from a science background. So, how many of you know what a hypothalamus is? Yeah, right. Like Krishnaja mentioned, it's a part of our brain. The hormones are produced. Now, social media and apps use unpredictable intermittent rewards like new messages, short viral videos to constantly trigger the system. Like the example I mentioned before, when we are constantly having good things, we must have heard about the dopamine detox cycle that's going on in Insta and social media. So what's exactly that? Earlier, we had dopamine released when we were doing a strain like, for example, we are walking. That releases dopamine because it's a happy hormone. We are walking, we are happy, the hormone is released, and we are happy again. Now we are dancing, we are happy, the hormone is released, we are happy again. But with the social media, what happened is, without taking any efforts, in a single second, this dopamine is released. Now what would happen? You're not doing any exercise, you're doing nothing, and the dopamine is released. Now body is addicted to that. It needs that dopamine again and again. And over time, like we are resistant to drugs, and we need lots and lots of more quantity to feel that same satisfaction, the dopamine also acts in such a way. Now we have cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol, both are secreted by adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are present on the kidney, above the kidney. Cortisol from cortex, adrenal from medulla. Now, how many of you have felt a sudden rage or sudden excitement or sudden thrill before something? Pretty much everyone. Let's take the example of a presentation here. You have a presentation, and right before the presentation, you start having that your heartbeat starts racing. You have that tingling sensation in your stomach. You're a bit scared, you're a bit thrilled, you're a bit tensed, you're a bit excited. How do we have these responses? Well, it's your adrenaline acting. Because it's a flight and fight response, hormone. An example my teacher once told me to remember about this hormone is let's imagine you're running and there's a tiger running behind you. There's a tiger running behind you. What all will happen? Your mouth will go dry. You'll have piloerection, which is the, you know what piloerection is?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. You'll get goosebumps. Your pupil will be dilated. To some of you will be very afraid. That's what adrenaline does. You know what's cortisol? Stress hormone. Similar to that, cortisol sustains these emotions. So adrenaline has spikes and the cortisol sustains these emotions. Now, news media uses alarming emotionally charged headlines to trigger a mild chronic stress response. How? Sorry?
Can you repeat?
So see, the adrenaline is a fight or flight response. It causes rapid spike in heart rate and blood pressure. Similar to that example where we are running and a tiger is running behind us. So we are very rapidly tensed and all sort of things. But what does cortisol do? It's related to stress. So what it does is, it sustains the response by increasing blood sugar, energy, enhancing the brain function. So due to adrenaline, it causes a rapid heart rate, right? For heart to beat, we need energy. So all that energy we had is now lost. So all the sugar content we had made with so much of efforts, that's lost now. So we need more sugar now, so that our body will feel energetic again. For that, cortisol acts.
So it's not inducing stress.
It's actually helping us to cope with stress. So I was saying, but yeah, chronically high cortisol can suppress the immune system as well. Now, how does news media affect this? We have seen headlines, breaking news. What does that does to our brain? I mean, yeah, it creates a blast, like Anushri mentioned. It creates a blast. That's what adrenaline does. Next, we'll go on to a case study of how negative news affect our brain. Like I mentioned about the headlines and the recent Delhi blast. How all did it affect us? Well, how all did it affect us?
How long it affected us?
How did it affect us?
How the blast.
The news about the blast. It must have increased fear, shock. Fear, shock. Sadness. No response from this side. Fight, flight. Sudden realization. Fight mode on. Yeah. Fight, flight.
People who have relatives or friends living there might
Have felt very emotionally drained. So that's what news does. So it triggers stress hormones, like I mentioned earlier, increases anxiety, it activates negative bias, it distorts the reality, it impairs focus. We all can feel lack of focus now, right? Due to Instagram doom scrolling, we all can relate to that, something called brain rot. Then we have it contributes to depression. Now, depression is a very strong word. Most of us, we usually joke around about having depression. But having depression is like draining your energy every single moment of your time. You can't imagine the amount of pressure one goes through while having that illness. Most of the times we just joke around about it. Maybe because of lack of awareness. So we need to understand it's a serious condition. It's not something to joke about. And this, if if not managed properly, even a news can lead to such a issue, like such a mental issue. Now, the hormonal aspect, like I explained earlier, the adrenaline, cortisol, and I'll just briefly explain what happens when we hear a news. We hear a news, and then we interpret it as a threat, like someone mentioned when we hear the bomb blast, we wanted to fight back. So similar to that, the adrenaline is released, and then cortisol is sustained, and repeated surges from constant exposure elevate the cortisol, which can damage the hippocampus. And does anyone know what hippocampus is?
No.
It's part of brain. So we have a limbic system which is responsible for emotion. It's called the emotional brain, which is responsible for all of the emotions that we have. We have hippocampus, we have amygdala, we have hypothalamus and thalamus. All of these together constitute a limbic system, which is responsible for our emotions. So all of this can create fear, center. No, it's fine.
Don't you think we're desensitized to the news now? Like we get so much negative news all the time. At this point, some of us could be desensitized to it. We don't feel that much when we hear a bad news because it keeps happening. It's normal.
Exactly. Similar to that. Like I think can you just go a few slides back? Like I mentioned about this cortisol. See, this one, cortisol. This chronically high cortisol can suppress the immune system. Similar to that, we are constantly hearing negative news. Now it doesn't matter to us anymore. It's like a daily thing now. Because like I mentioned about that drug thing, first we start taking small amount of drug, and then we increase it to a little bit. And now our immune system or our brain, our brain cannot live without it. That sort of situation. Similar to that, if we are hearing negative news for a really long time, now our brain kind of processes it like, yeah, it's a daily happening. Another hormone is oxytocin. Does anyone know oxytocin? Yes. And the heart hormone or the bonding hormone. Where is it released from? Science students. I'm asking this to science students because it has a little bit of twist in it. It is produced. Where is it produced from? Is it produced from hypothalamus, or is it produced from other organs, or is it produced from pituitary? It's not pituitary. Yeah, Lakshya is right. It's not pituitary. Pituitary is growth hormone. Yeah, it's yes. Ashwati said it. It's hypothalamus. I'm not getting any answers from here. So it is produced in hypothalamus. Now, where do you think it is released from? I just from hypothalamus, pituitary, and any other organ. It's produced from hypothalamus, then it is transported somewhere, and then it is released from someplace else. And that someplace else is pituitary. Yes, that's the twist. It is produced in hypothalamus, and then it is transported to the pituitary, and then it is released. Yeah. Ashwati is having realizations. Nostalgia. That is also a hormone's play, by the way. So we have oxytocin, which is the binding hormone released during positive social interaction, promoting trust, in-group cohesion. How does social media play a role in it? How does social media play a role in it?
In releasing oxytocin? Yes. So, you know how, like, when we watch something on social media, we usually go for things that align with our beliefs or what we relate to.
Exactly.
So that's what comes in our FYP or whatever social media platforms. So when we see something that aligns with our mindset, it reaffirms our beliefs.
Exactly.
Which could.
So it builds a sort of connection. Yes, Asha?
Yeah, and when you follow particular influencers in general see you as friends, like talk to you like they're talking to
Exactly.
So they bond with you. It's a parasocial relationship where there's only one side. Like they don't even know you exist.
Exactly.
And
But for us, it feels like they are part of a family or they are a friend group. So it creates a bonding. That is how social media plays a role in releasing the bonding hormone. Now I have these questions for you. So, like we discussed earlier, in our engagement, if our engagement is driven by chemical compulsion, does the user truly have free agency in their media consumption? I mean, everything is related to hormones. So, do you think we have any free will? I mean, everything is hormone. Do you think so?
Yeah,
Yes, Mamni?
I mean, it shouldn't be like the hormones are the functionaries. It's not the
Exactly, exactly. It's still our hormones, right? So that's first question. Then we have, what responsibilities do advertisers, news producers, and platform designers have when their models optimize for biological dependency? So we saw that in news, how a negative news might affect us, or how a positive news might affect us, how social media affects us. So what do you think these advert questions that we have to address and you have to think about? Now what do we have to do? We have to reclaim the control. In the social media generation, we have the temptation to post everything online. Like have me just taking a picture right now to post on Insta perhaps. Our life is completely dependent on Insta right now. So how can we? No, it was not for Insta. It was for Snapchat. Still a social media. So how can we reclaim control? How can we reclaim control? Reducing the amount, by limiting our usage, by dopamine detox, the word popularized by the social media itself. The dopamine detox, the high level of dopamine. I mean, like I mentioned before, we need sustained dopamine, not the temporarily fast dopamine release. So instead of getting dopamine release from a reel, we can have the same dopamine release by doing something productive, such as walking, which is better for your health as well. Next we have, so now as I asked before how mass communication and science are related, why do you think we as mass communication students have the responsibility? Why do we have the responsibility? We are the future, not policy makers, but we are the future newsmakers. So we need to keep in mind that all of our activities can create and impact any other person and their body and their hormones. So we should have a control on what we are publicizing. We know about the journalist ethics, we know about the media ethics, media laws. So we need to keep in mind when we are training or we are creating content, we should be mindful about how it might affect the other person. So we should be conscious communicator. Now this is the last question. So how do you think we as mass communication students can help to achieve that? Just any three methods. One from this side, and that side. How do you think? I'll go from this side. I'll come back to you. Quick, we have time. Being more mindful. This side.
be aware of your decision
Being
making.
aware of our decision, being more mindful about what we create, being more aware of what the issue is. That is, we have to have a background check. And then from the back side, giving more.